Iran. You and I are Iranian. And when I tell a lot of friends that, Reza's coming on, I had 50-50 split, what people say.
That's about right.
Oh, my God. Let me tell you, don't do it. Because I'm going to tell you, they're going to target you, these Muslims. You got to be careful. You call out Christianity, nothing will happen to you. Call out Jesus, nothing will happen to you. Call out Scientologists, something may happen to you. Call out a lot of, but there's one thing you don't go. You just don't go. It's kind of like the movie Tropic Thunder. What does he say? You never
go full retard.
The point is, you don't ever bring and argue the Muslim religion, and there's risk to it. By the way, I've brought gangsters, mobsters, Sammy Gravano, and everybody will say, you cross the line with Muslims, they are fanatics, they will come after you, et cetera, et cetera. Then some of the people said, hey, let me tell you, the fact that you're bringing him, I think you're going to enjoy the conversation. You guys are not going to agree on everything, but I think you're going to enjoy it. He's reasonable. Some of the stuff he says is crazy, but you're going to enjoy it. Which, by the way, right. to be fair, I've enjoyed this conversation a lot. And some of the people that know that I'm a capitalist, why would you give this guy a platform? This is my desire. I enjoy this. I walk away today saying, what a great way to start the day. But the one thing a lot of the Iranians will say, they'll say, Patrick, he's a NIAC. He's a NIAC. How can you talk to a person from NIAC? Do you realize he represents Iran and he is a spokesperson for those guys and they defend and they want the nuclear deal because it was them that started the nuclear deal? Go look at the website, who sits on their board. Dianne Feinstein, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, all of these guys. You have to be very careful dealing with NIAC. Now, for people that know who NIAC is, Americans don't say NIAC. Americans will say NIAC, which is what? National Iranian Association of
National Iranian American Council.
American Council. And so that's what NIAC stands for. So you're on the website. You have your picture there.
No, I'm not on the website.
Maybe they removed you. You were on the you're on a website saying that you supported NIAC. I can text it to you and show it to you on some of the places. But tell me your position with NIAC and Iran and where you're at.
Fuck about NIAC.
Okay.
This whole thing is so stupid.
Well, people are asking, just so you know.
People are asking because they've been brainwashed by a purposeful, deliberate, well-funded, well-coordinated disinformation campaign that seeks to paint all progressive Iranian voices as regime supporters. My writing, I've written, spoken, been on TV. I mean, I have 2 decades of me on television talking about what I feel about this regime and what I think needs to happen to it. I have repeatedly called for its downfall. I have repeatedly called it a murderous regime that belongs in the dustbin of history. My advisory role at NIAC, which I used to have, is because I am an expert on religion and politics. So I advise the Plowshares Fund. I advise NIAC. I advise the fucking State Department. I advise actual Congress people who are making these decisions about what to do with Iran. I'm an expert in Iran, so I advise those groups. I have no loyalty or membership to NIAC. I'm not here to speak for NIAC.
To be fair, you don't advise the other side, though. You're strictly advising the progressive side. You're not advising...
100%.
Which they support the nuclear deal, which you support as well.
100% support the nuclear deal.
So you support negotiating with a nation that says, Marg bar Amerika, death upon America. You're comfortable negotiating with a country that hates us.
I'm sorry, who do we negotiate? We only negotiate with countries that love us? Is that how negotiations work? Have you heard of the phrase diplomacy?
But diplomacy...
There is no negotiation with a country that actually agrees with you.
But
we
question,
negotiate with countries that disagree with us.
I totally get that. But for the most part, the countries we negotiate with that disagree with us, they don't say death upon Americans. Iran says... death upon Americans, the top of the Iran. This is not even the people in the streets.
Who gives a fuck? So what?
So give them $150 billion? That's a valid concern. That's a valid question.
First of all, it's their money that we are releasing in exchange for removing nuclear weapons from Iran. How do you suggest we remove nuclear weapons from Iran, Patrick?
Okay, I have ideas for you.
I
can give it to you. Not to remove nuclear weapons. First of all, do you believe... no matter whether we give them the money or not, they're not going to continue working on nuclear weapons?
They literally didn't. But hold on. Nope. We're not going to move past this until we establish the facts. The JCPOA, which was negotiated by the United States, Russia, China, the Security Council, and Germany, which is extraordinary. The idea that those 5 countries came together and the European Union and agreed on anything, let alone agreed on this absolutely remarkable deal under the Obama administration to remove all the enriched uranium out of Iran. There is zero doubt that that worked. Zero. The IAEA came out in no uncertain terms and said, within 12 months of that deal being put in place, Iran no longer had the enriched uranium to create a nuclear bomb. Within 12 months...
You have to be naive to believe that.
Okay.
You have to be,
right.
but fair enough. Let's buy into the naivete and move forward.
Okay,
let's just say you're right. Let's say you're right.
Let's not believe the people on the ground who are actually monitoring the nuclear plants.
To believe somebody that believes in the values that they do, yes, I don't believe that. But let me go to the next one and ask you the question. Let me go to the next one and ask you the question.
What's the alternative?
Let me go back to the next one and ask you the question. Okay. Your father was right about Khomeini. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your father was right. So do you think Iran, and I know this is going to be hard for you to answer this question, don't go Mossadegh. I'm purely talking Shah and the advancements we were making under Shah versus what happened to Iran under Khomeini, okay? If we had a choice between the two, this is not you can't say, well, I would choose this. I wouldn't choose either. If you had a choice between how Iran was during Shah's era versus Khomeini, which would you choose?
Neither.
I knew you were going to say that, but you can't say neither.
Fuck that.
You cannot say neither. How do you mean neither? How can you say neither? Be honest. I'm being serious with you.
You may literally have this idea about the Shah's age that is in your imagination.
I do not have an idea about Shah's age.
You don't remember the thousands of people that he slaughtered on the street, the tens of thousands of people who would disappear into education camps. We replaced one murderous regime with another murderous regime, and it's stupid to say which one would you prefer.
It's naive for you to say what you just said. You said since you've left Iran in 79 till today, Adam asked you a question. When's the last time you visited? You said 2005, before I became famous. You didn't use the word famous, but before I became known in a marketplace. Okay, you haven't gone back since. Under Shah, you could go back. This is not about saying one did it right or one did it wrong.
Is your question which is more beneficial to me or which is better for Iran?
It's by the way, the Shah was more beneficial to the people. You're saying Khomeini is more beneficial to the people.
Fuck no, that's not what I said.
So the question I'm asking is,
literally said
what is more beneficial? You can't say neither, though.
You are telling me which murderous regime would you prefer? The murderous regime of the Shah or the murderous regime of the Ayatollah?
You cannot be that naive, though. You cannot be that naive. Listen, if you take it from that route, the Reza Shah Pahlavi, okay, and Iran, where they were, which, by the way, for me, an imperialist model.
Are you a Pahlavist?
I'm not an imperialist. My model would be more what we have in America. What I'm asking you, a simple question you can't answer. During Khomeini, millions of people died from other countries. Other innocent people died because of Khomeini's policies and his regime. This is not Reza Pahlavi's other people died because of his regime. You can't give that argument.
Okay.
For you to say that I'm going to choose both the same.
If what you want to do is a fun intellectual exercise in which you are saying, gun to my head, I can only pick the murderous regime of the Shah or the murderous regime of the Ayatollahs.
It's too different.
Which one would you want?
You cannot say
I would say the murderous regime of the Shah.
Okay, so then...
Because you got a gun to my head.
Not because I got a gun to your head. Because logically it makes sense to say right after Khomeini, you're probably not leaving Iran if Shah was still in Iran. Or not being in Iran, you probably would, and I would probably,
I'd be probably miserable.
I
wouldn't have rights.
I don't think so. I disagree. You would have chosen to leave to another country. You would have chosen to come to.
I think you've got a nostalgia for the days of the Shah.
I don't have a nostalgia.
Me a lot of like Make America Great Again.
But this to me takes you back to why NIAC gets the criticism that it does. Because for you, you're saying give $150 billion to those guys, to Iran. It's their money.
No,
it's their money anyways. But you're saying it's their money anyways.
No, you're putting words in my mouth.
Begu.
We have two options with Iran's nuclear program.
Yeah.
Two options and nothing else. Two options, period.
We have a third option.
What's the third option?
I'll give you the third option.
Option one, we blow the shit out of it. Option two, we use negotiation and diplomacy. What's your third option?
Very simple. It's very simple what you do with option 3. Option 3 is the same exact thing that happened in different nations. Iran is going through a potential revolution today.
Hold on. I want to make it clear.
Please.
I am talking about 2012. I am not talking about 2022. I have never said we should renegotiate the nuclear program now. You're asking me, did I support the JCPOA
versus today?
Today, there's no country to negotiate.
Let me tell you.
But let me make sure
I'm glad you
before
clarified
Twitter
that.
loses its fucking mind.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I am not saying
Fair.
that
You're
we
going back
should
10
be
years.
negotiating
Fair.
now.
So then,
was it right in 2012? 100%.
Let me make my
right.
point. Let me make my point on what I'm thinking, and I want to hear your rebuttal on this and your argument on this. For me, it's the following. Have you heard of John Perkins, the economic hitman guy, the author? He's a hardcore progressive. Very, very interesting guy. I had him on 2 times. I really like talking to that guy. And it's very interesting, his arguments, what they did, to cause nations to go down. Do you think the current model and the government today in Iran is good for its people and good for the world?
Fuck no.
Okay, fair. We're on the same page. So is it fair to say that if we can figure out a way to help the Iranian people, not the government, the Iranian people to cause a fall in Iran, that's probably a good, noble thing for us to do?
That has been my goal for 20 years.
Fantastic. Then if doing that, your mission of wanting to do that, which NIAC's mission is for the people, policy to help with the people, that doesn't align with the rulers and the president and the people that run Iran. You guys don't share a common value.
You disagree. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
So you're telling me the foreign minister Javad Zarif, like you're saying his ideal situation is to bring democracy to Iran?
No. What you're saying is, can we pursue policies in the United States to help the people of Iran? And have we been? My answer is we have not been. We have not. 40 years of blanket sanctions has not helped the people of Iran. It has only entrenched the government further. And there's reams of academic data that indicates that. The question is, does for instance, nuclear deal, the JCPOA in 2012, would that have helped the government or the people? And there is very good, real, meaningful arguments to be made that it would only help the government. I disagree, because there are much better arguments that it would only help people. Why? Goes back to your God, capitalism, the free market. The Iranian people live in an oppressive, murderous, theocratic regime. And as a part of American policy, we have decided that we're going to blanket sanction everyone in the hopes that eventually they'll rise up and take down their government.
No.
4 decades. 4 decades we've been doing that. Now, instead, the argument of the JCPOA was very simple. We get to get rid of Iran's nuclear capabilities without launching a war.
By giving them $150 billion.
Again, I want to make sure that you understand that this isn't my 150 million or your 150 million. That's the only reason I said.
It doesn't matter. You're strengthening them.
What you are doing.
You're strengthening their government.
It's not about the money that you give them.
It doesn't get to the people.
Liberalization.
You cannot be that naive to think the money goes to the people.
I'm not talking about the money going to the people. What I am talking about is the policies that arise from the JCPOA, which requires the liberalization of Iran's economy. What the Iranian people need.
It's not going to happen.
What the Iranian people need in order to actually succeed in bringing down their government is access to the free market, is access to the rest of the world.
By giving money to the government?
You are conflating 2 different things.
I'm not.
Listen to me. I'm not saying that the money in exchange for the nuclear weapons is what is going to free Iran. I am saying that the policies pursued by the JCPOA have, on top of it, the goal of economic liberalization in Iran, which is why I argued 10 years ago that Iran should be allowed into the World Trade Organization, because then it would have to actually pursue policies that require economic liberalization. You can't
negotiate with unreasonable people. It's impossible to negotiate with unreasonable people.
Do you know how much shit we send to North Korea right now? Do you know how many billions of dollars in aid we send to North Korea? Is there anyone more unreasonable than Kim Jong-un, that's who we negotiate with, is unreasonable people. Because the other option with unreasonable people is you just bomb the shit out of them.
Don't put, I know you're a hardcore capitalist. As a capitalist yourself, don't confuse the two, okay, with a Judeo-Christian nation that we're talking about here. I'm not talking about North Korea here. I'm talking specifically to Iran. If you go back and you think about during the Shah era, when that place is safe, everybody around them felt safe. Nobody around Iran feels safe right now.
Nobody in Iran felt safe in the Shah's
Of course
era.
they did. Of course, it's called
Maybe
great power.
you and your family did.
Yours did as well. What are you talking about? Your example is the perfect one. The moment Shah left, your dad as a communist left. What are you talking about?
My father didn't feel safe in
Then why
Iran.
didn't he leave under the Shah? Why did he leave right? Khomeini came in. You realize how much hypocrisy there is for that. There's contradiction to that.
But let me a lot of the things that I understood about you, I never honestly thought that you were going to sit here and actually defend the fucking Shah.
Are you kidding me? You're defending Khomeini. You're defending Iran. You're defending all the people that died.
Have I defended Khomeini?
You chose 50-50.
Hold on. Has anyone here actually heard me
indirectly
defend Khomeini?
you are. Indirectly you are. When I asked you between the Shah and the Khomeini, you said it's neither. What are you talking? You're saying Khomeini and Shah are the same? You have to be naive to say that.
I didn't say they were the same. What I said was,
but your family, to be fair,
they're both murderous regimes.
Baby, I left in '89. I left '89. Okay. My family was actually the family that thought Iran was going to figure it out. I'm part of that family. Yeah. If I would have left early, if I had your father, I would have been like, hey man, we're in U.S. already. I would have had a 10-year lead. But my dad took 10 more years with mom because they thought that this thing's going to get figured out, right? All I'm saying to you right now is the following. I have 4 kids. I would love to take my kids to Iran. To Jam Hospital. I'd love to walk around. I'd love to go eat at Abali, Jigar, Dour, original Dour.
I dream about
Balal to, what's that one park? Park Shahan Shahi. It's a different name right now, whatever it's called. Or go to Bandar Pahlavi. It's not called Bandar Pahlavi anymore. My mother said they're from Rasht and Bandar Pahlavi area.
Yeah.
It's my dream to go there. I think, my opinion, by giving these guys, even if it's their money back, to make the government even stronger, you're delaying those people being free. You're delaying it 10, 15, 20 more years.
Let's establish, what's your goal for Iran?
My goal for Iran is to be a nation that is freer than it is today.
Okay.
Free such as...
we have the exact same goal.
We do, but our approach is a different approach.
How do you think we get to a freer? Now, it's in 45 years.
Yeah.
It's been 45 years where we've done one thing. All we have done for 45 years is sanction, contain, and isolate. 45 years. Yeah. Now you tell me, have we gotten this much closer to the Iran that you're asking for?
So let me.
You're saying American policy?
Yeah,
American policy
I understand fully what he's saying.
Has been sanctions, isolation,
by the
containment.
way, can you tell Karina to tell the people to get on the Zoom? I'm 6 minutes late. I'm going to be there in 4 minutes.
Tell me, have we actually pursued your goal?
Have we pursued our goal? So my answer is going to upset you, okay? And just brace for impact. Maybe take a deep breath, USA, and then take it. And then you're probably going to upset me as well. But you know my answers. These are my answers. I think there are a lot of people in the world that want to keep Iran in the havoc that it is today.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of people that if they
Saudi Arabia, Israel.
It's not just Saudi Arabia or Israel. There's a lot of people here. It's UK. It's a lot of people. The last time Iran was very powerful, they became a little too powerful. And they're like, wait a minute, pump your brakes. My people are going to your place. Elizabeth Taylor is dating Zahedi. Frank Sinatra's coming and performing concerts in Iran. The richest people in the world in the 70s are going to Iran for vacation. The top 3 countries in the world for vacation is Iran. Are you out of your freaking mind? They're killing it. Guys, we got to kind of slow. They need havoc in the Middle East. It's a necessity for some. Financially, it's a necessity for some. Politically, it's a necessity. It's just like...
But we're talking about the Iranian people.
But let me it's the same...
Has this policy helped the Iranian people?
It's the same way as many progressive, not you or Democrats, would like to keep certain communities and sects poor because they keep winning that vote. If they lose that vote, if they start becoming financially free, not needed, we're not getting off the subject. We're not getting off the subject. What I'm saying to you is I'm giving you my opinion. I don't think they want to free it. Having said that, my approach would be any possible way to give the power to the people.
How
How
do we give the power to the people?
They need weapons. In Iran, the people don't have weapons.
We're not gonna ship weapons to Iran like it's
You're
Ukraine.
asking me a question. I'm telling you.
Let's talk about the realm of the possible.
The realm of the possible is not logical. What needs to be done is not on freaking black and white. It's a lot of gray needs to get done for this thing to get done. It ain't no black and white type of stuff. You need a similar situation on what happened with Mossadegh and what happened with the Shah. As crazy as this sounds. They've done this before to a guy that would be considered a Republican, the Shah, and they did it to a guy that would have been seen as a socialist, Mossadegh.
So how you
playbook.
think we help the people in Iran is by giving them weapons?
That is one of many different ways to do it. One of many different ways to do it. That's one of the ways to do it.
How do we empower those people to actually be able to remove their government from
By
power?
suffocating their government.
How do we suffocate their government?
Why do you think all these girls right now are willing to sacrifice their lives? For what, though? What do you think the women right now are doing in Iran? What do you think they're doing it for?
They're sacrificing their lives.
Why are they
for
doing
the
it
most
for?
Basic human rights.
Basic human rights, things that you and I have here.
Absolutely.
I support that. And I support the more we strengthen their government, the less power we give them.
So
the more money we give to the government, the less money we give to, less power we give to them.
Right. So you do realize that right now the rich people in Iran are the people in government. The mullahs with the Rolexes.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
45 years of sanctions has made the people poor and the government rich.
No, what they do is the government from the top says, see what America did to you?
Right.
See what America did to you?
Take it all.
And, see, we take it all. And then, hey, U.S., send us more money, or else we're going to keep saying Marikbat America. We're going to keep saying America's the evil empire. That's what they do.
No, it's not about American empire. It's about an existential threat to the world with nuclear weapons.
Iran has Iran has money. It's not like Iran doesn't have money. The level of
again, let's not confuse things. The nuclear deal was to get nuclear weapon capabilities out of Iran, and it was, according to
you're strengthening the government.
According to 5 countries, it was worth giving them money in order to do that.
So
here's the question. Here's the question to you. You're saying that for 45 years, the government has gotten richer and the people have gotten poorer.
Yes.
And that's because the government has a monopoly on the black market. So I'm saying, actually, let's invest in the free market. Let's give the people on the ground
You're naive to think the money goes to them.
The money goes to them.
You can't be that naive. You have 4 degrees. I don't have a degree.
The money goes to them if they actually have an ability to access it. If they have access to the free market economy, if they have access to interdependent trade relations.
Access to that.
If you're a business owner in Iran, let's say you're selling carpets.
Iran's business.
You're selling pistachios.
Yes.
You can't sell pistachios on the international market. So that's not about the mullahs keeping all the money for them. They can.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, and for a capitalist like you, I can't believe you're disagreeing with this.
I'm against the government having the power to bully its people, which is what it's been doing for 44 years. You're for it. I'm against it.
That's bullshit. And to say that I'm for it.
Then what do you mean give them the $150 billion to the government? Your argument is that. If you're saying the argument is let them have their money that's theirs, you're not thinking we're strengthening them? I think we have a common mission, by the way.
My argument, and I'm going to say this one last time, is that in exchange in 2012 for the removal of nuclear weapons capabilities.
You're believing them.
In exchange for nuclear weapons capabilities, which have the stringent investigative group, the IAEA. Now you can say, oh, fuck the IAEA, fuck the UN, they all don't know anything. Okay, well then there's nothing really to talk about. But the people on the ground who actually take the tests told us in no uncertain terms that it was working. That's a fact. The point is, separate that from this larger conversation that we're having, which is how do you empower the people in Iran to bring down their governments? And it's a legitimate argument. I'm not saying you're wrong or dumb for thinking that, sanctions is the right way of doing it.
You're not dumb. It's naive. It's two different stories.
What I'm saying is there are 2 ways to do this. You could either blanket sanction the entire country, and as we know, 45 years of that has led to the government being more entrenched than it's ever been, and the people at the top being billionaires and everyone else barely struggling, or any other thing. 45 years, any other thing. And what is the other thing? Well, it's quite easy. There are mechanisms in place already that allow for an investment on the ground of the Iranian people themselves. Access to the free market economy, which comes with rules. Here's the problem with 45.
With rules.
The rules are World Bank rules, dude.
Rules are okay. So if I negotiate with a murderer, you think he's accustomed to following the rules? If I negotiate with a nation, with a government like theirs, you think they follow what's in the contracts? There's
simple.
No way you believe that.
I understand that you have this mystical view of what the Iranian government is that exists in this kind of existential
I just
plane
listen
of
to what
evil.
they say. No, I just listen to what they say.
But
You
they
don't
are
think they're
actual
evil.
people who care about their own livelihood and they care about nothing else.
I do think they care about their livelihood. The government people care about their wealth. I do agree with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm talking about its people. That's what I'm talking about.
And what I'm saying is, right now, we have nothing but the stick. We have no carrot at all in Iran. There's nothing that
you're giving carrot to the wrong guy. You're giving carrot to the guy that's got plenty of carrots. He's been overdosing on carrot.
We're giving carrot to the economy.
No, you're not giving a carrot to the economy.
Here's how interdependent
I'm a Syrian Armenian. I'm a Syrian and Armenian. Let me tell you what both sides will say. You ready? Here's a criticism. Here's a criticism both sides will say. And I want to wrap it up. We'll go off. If you're up for part 2, 3 hours, I'm up for bringing you back. You have no idea how much I've enjoyed it. I'm being serious with you.
Serious.
Okay, so I'll tell you this. Armenian Assyrian. Bet David, Bogosyan. Bet David, Assyrian, Bogosyan, Armeni. Okay? You know, every time when people say, hey, let me tell you what's going on. Send money to this charity. Send money to go help the Assyrians. How come you're not giving money here? And I'll send money. You know what both sides of my family will say? Never send money. You know why?
Because it goes to the wrong people.
Because it never goes to its people.
Yes.
You said it. You know this reputation. So if you and I are giving money, 150 billion to the government, we have to be naive to believe it's going to end up to its people. That's what I'm saying.
It's not going to end up to its people, and
we're strengthening them.
It's something different.
Okay, anyway.
But hold on. I need to say one last thing because if you probably know anything about me, you know that I get cut up and re-edited, and there's an entire industry online meant to make me look in a certain way.
That's not us. We don't do that.
I want to say something. I want to say a final word here because it's very important.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this final word will make it. I have absolutely nothing but loathing for the Iranian government, for the Islamic Republic. It is a murderous, terroristic regime that slaughters its own children. It has no legitimacy whatsoever. It belongs in the dustbin of history. The only proper response of this current revolution, and it is a revolution, is not for reform. It's not for a little bit more rights. It's to burn the whole thing down and start all over again, and I wholeheartedly support that. The question is, how do we empower those young people? How do we give them the tools necessary in order to burn it down?
Okay. So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.